You believe that I actually made it to 200 episodes? I find it kind of surprising at times if we're being 1,000% honest about it. And today I'm going to jump all over House Resolution 1446, which they just passed the other day when it came, trying to resolve the gun violence problem that we're having. And they did pass two. They passed, this one and HR 8, which happened. And there's also another 80 pager, which is gigantic. I didn't see a number, nothing actually passed, but they're working on that. And I saw a bunch of people again. You'll hear me say it. Why the hell do people complain? Because someone says they need more time to read it. Well, you could read 80 pages in like 10 minutes. Like, yes, but reading everything they want to put in there and then reading the laws on the books and the Constitution and making sure everything they're doing is actually constitutional takes more than 10 minutes. And believe it or not, that 80 pages and doing all that isn't the only thing on any of their desks. Now, there's not like they just only passed, like there's a million things that they'll try to work through that everyone has to read. And a lot of them don't read it, which is the problem. And a lot of you people out there don't even give a damn, which is a problem, but it takes a lot more time than just 3 seconds. And I don't understand why people think it does. And I don't think why people understand why people think we're crazy for wanting to know what's in the bill. I don't know. Why shouldn't you want to know exactly what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it? And if it's actually constitutional, as it's their job to uphold the Constitution and all. Yeah. Makes no sense to me why they don't, but thankfully for all you people that don't want to read it, if it's not even you don't want to, it's that you physically do not have the time to read it, don't worry. I am nice enough to print things off so I can have them, pardon my chair, because I like to know what's actually in the things. And then I compare it to what they say is in the things. Yeah. So I actually know what's coming. Not just, well, they said it was going to be this. Yeah, now it's doing this, this, and this, because no one actually reads the things. They just vote, which is what got us where we are. But it was received in the House on March 11th, 2021. It was read for the first time, May 24th, 2022. And May 25th, 2022 was read the second time and placed on the calendar. It's amazing that it was received March 11th, 2021. Then all these bad things started happening. And boom, read for the first time right after it started. It's amazing, isn't it? Like that, even right off their thing proves they're sitting on it for over a year. Why were they sitting on it for over a year? Amazing how all these things started happening. And then suddenly, bang, they have it because they were sitting on it for 14 months, 14 and a half months, correction. Go and make sure I get that right. But an act to amend Chapter 44 of Title 18, United States Code, to strengthen the background check procedures to be followed before a federal firearms licensee may transfer a firearm to a person who is not such a licensee. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Enhanced Background Checks Act of 2021. Again, amazing how it didn't come and get read or anything until after all these shootings happened. Kind of amazing. They had it there just sitting and waiting. Like we had to do something in response to all this. Then why did you have it sitting around before all of this? Food for thought. Section 2, strengthening of background check procedures to be followed before a federal firearms licensee may transfer a firearm to a person who is not such a licensee. Section 922T of Title 18, United States Code, is amended 1 in paragraph 1B by striking clause 2 and inserting the following. In the event the system has not notified the licensee that the receipt of a firearm by such other person would violate subsection G or N of this section. 1, not fewer than 10 business days, meaning a day on which state offices are open, has elapsed since the licensee contacted the system, and the system has not notified the licensee that the receipt of a firearm by such other person would violate subsection G or N of this section, and the other person has submitted electronically through a website established by the Attorney General or by first-class mail a petition for review, which AA certifies that such other person has no reason to believe that such other person is prohibited by federal, state, or local law from purchasing or processing a firearm, and BB requests that the system respond to the contact referred to in subparagraph A within 10 business days after the date the petition was submitted, or if the petition is submitted by first-class mail, the date the letter containing the petition is postmarked, and 2, 10 business days have elapsed since the other person so submitted the petition, and the system has not notified the licensee that the receipt of a firearm by such other person would violate subsection G or N of this section, and 2, by adding at the end the following. 7, the Attorney General shall A, prescribe the form on which a petition shall be submitted pursuant to paragraph 1B, and 2, B, make the form available electronically and provide a copy of the form to all licensees referred to in paragraph 1. C, provide the petitioner and the licensee involved written notice of receipt of the petition either electronically or by first-class mail. As you have first-class mail, we all know how fast that moves. D, respond to any on an expedited basis to any such petition received by the Attorney General. And I have zero faith in doing any of that. The Attorney General having his finger in everything. Sorry. There's something, sketchy about that. Anyway, 8A, if after 3 business days have elapsed since the licensee initially contacted the system about a firearm transaction, the system notifies the licensee that the receipt of a firearm by such other person would not violate subsection G or N, the licensee may continue to rely on that notification for the longer of I, 1, an additional 25 calendar days after the licensee receives the notification, or 2, 30 calendar days after the date of the initial contact. So see how this keeps going, just going and going and going and going. B, such other person has met the requirements of paragraph 1B and II before the system destroys the records related to the firearm transaction, the licensee may continue to rely on such other person having met the requirements for an additional 25 calendar days after the date such other person first met the requirements. It's amazing how they keep just dragging it on and on, more bureaucratic red tape, which again will only hurt law-abiding citizens, because criminals don't really go through any of this stuff. And when they do, they lie on all the forms. It comes to drugs, mental health stuff, and anything like that. And if it's not in the system, they can't know that they're lying, and they do crazy things. They can't stop crazy. Anyway, section 3, GAO reports. Within 90 days after the end of each of the 1-year, 3-year, and 5-year periods that begin with the effective date of this act, the Comptroller General of the United States shall prepare and submit to the Committee on the Judiciary of the House of Representatives and the Committee on the Judiciary of the Senate a written report analyzing the content to which during the respective period, paragraphs 1B and 2 and 7 of section 922T of Title 18 United States Code have prevented firearms from being transferred to prohibited persons, which report shall include, but not limited to, the following. 1, an assessment of the overall implementation of such subsections, including a description of the challenges faced in implementing such paragraphs. 2, an aggregate description of firearm purchase delays and denials with the description of denials disaggregated by state and by the basis for the denial. And 3, an aggregate analysis of the petitions submitted pursuant to such paragraph 1B or 2. So, big old reports with everyone in there. Again, anyone really paying attention to anything, we all know they already have said reports on the whole entire world. So, you're just putting it in writing now. Everything's listening to everything anyone says. We all know you already have them. But section 4, reports on petitions supporting firearms transfers not immediately approved by an ICS system that were not responded to in a timely manner. The Director of Federal Bureau of Investigations, that's the FBI, shall make an annual report to the public on the number of petitions received by the National Instant Criminal Background Check System established under Section 103 of the Brady Handgun Violence Protection Act that were submitted pursuant to subclause 1 of Section 922T, 1B, and 2 of Title 18 U.S. Code, with respect to which a determination was not made within the 10-day period referred to in subclause 2 of such section. The report shall include the following, which shall be disaggregated by state. 1, the number of petitions submitted under such section that were received by the National Instant Criminal Background Check System established under Section 103 of the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act. 2, the number of petitioners who were discovered to be ineligible under federal or state law during that 10-day period. 3, the number of petitioners who were discovered to be ineligible under federal or state law after that 10-day period. 4, the basis of the ineligibility of the petitioners discovered to be ineligible under federal or state law during that 10-day period, and the basis of the ineligibility of the petitioners discovered to be ineligible under federal or state law after that 10-day period. Isn't that nice to make it all public knowledge? Here's who wanted to have it. Here's why they can't have it. So, the whole world will know it, the whole entire, your whole life story, whether it's bogus or not. Exciting. Number of the petitioners whose petitions were denied and who, within 12 months after the denial, were prosecuted under federal, state, or local law for receiving or attempting to receive a firearm. Which again, this is so much idiocy, but report to the Congress within 150 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Attorney General, in consultation with the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence and Firearms, shall submit to the Congress a report analyzing the effect, if any, of this act on the safety of victims of domestic violence, domestic abuse, dating partner violence, sexual assault, and stalking, disaggregated by state, and whether any further amendments to the background check process, including amendments to the conditions that must be met under this act for a firearm to be transferred when the system has not notified the licensee that such transfers would not violate subsection G or N of section 922 of Title 18 U.S. Code, would likely result in a reduction in the risk of death or greater bodily harm to victims of domestic violence, domestic abuse, dating partner violence, sexual assault, and stalking. And again, they could put, a thing to anything. They could have all of that there, all the databases they want. But in, my experience and, looking at stats and, knowing people and reading all those people that commit, like domestic violence, abuse, dating partner violence, sexual assault, like all of that, like if they don't have a gun, like they're still going to use something else. Seen it. It could do all kinds of things. Do I think they should look into that stuff and finding ways to do anything? Yes, I'm pretty sure everyone thinks we should find ways to help all the people that are victims of all of those things. Do I think putting that in there would help? No, because they're just, if they're doing it now, they're going to do it with anything else. And sometimes that firearm is what's there to protect the victim. Make it harder for them, but it'd be bad. But, and I'm sure the report's going to absolutely suck like everything else they do and come out with. Normally they suck. Not making this up. Normally it's just a lot of wind, like when they did the gas stuff to help them. Didn't help anything. This is, a few weeks ago, helping gas prices where there was a bunch of words and it did nothing. Unlike, what they're planning on doing now, but that's for another day. Section 6, effective date. This act and the amendments made by this act shall take effect 210 days after the date of the enactment of this act. Isn't that a lot of words? Let me read that again, just in case you're confused. This act and the amendments made by this act shall take effect 210 days after the date of the enactment of this act. That's a hell of a sentence put together there. That's some scholarly stuff right there. Section 7, report on firearm transfers denied as a result of NICS check. Within 90 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Inspector General, Department of Justice, shall prepare and submit to the Congress a written report on the number of firearm transactions with respect to which the National Instant Criminal Background Check System established under the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act has determined that receipt of a firearm by the prospective firearm transferee would violate federal or state law, and which have been referred to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives for investigation. Again, passed the House of Representatives March 11, 2021, attest Cheryl Johnson, clerk. I still love that sentence. Having it all federal, whatever, like databases so the whole world can see everything, why it was. I think everyone can agree that whatever, like background checks, whatever, like just everyone I know that has legal gun owners have done background checks. So maybe I'm just naive and confused as to why I think hardening it is going to stop criminals from doing things, because again, look at the people that they're either criminals, or then there's the other side, the people that have mental health problems, drug habits, and all that stuff that lie on the background checks, and they've never been to doctors or anything, so no one knows, and then they get their hands on it anyway. And then again, criminals will get their hands on the stuff regardless, because well, they're criminals and it's illegal to go and do what they're doing with those guns when they know they get the guns that they're going to do with the guns, and they don't care. But do I think that we should background, like, I don't know anyone that's against background checks. I really don't. You can tell me where I'm crazy on that, but I don't know anyone that's against them, because you're already really doing them pretty much everywhere. And then again, there are some things where they don't, but no one's going to disagree with that. I just don't see what a lot of that's going to help and do when it comes to really bad things happening, because most of these bad things that are happening, again, mass shootings like Chicago and all these places all the time, like they're done by felons who shouldn't have guns anyway, that didn't get them legally. So, strengthening it, whatever, that works. It'll make it more difficult for law-abiding citizens, and it'll add a few extra steps and more money and all kinds of craziness to it. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to make a difference in criminals doing criminal things, because they're getting them illegally most of the situations. So we'll see what it does, but there it is, HR 1446, all 8 pages of it live and in living color right there. Could have been a lot worse. I will give them that. I mean, that's positive. At least it wasn't like this big ridiculous thing, but we'll see what it does. I just don't see it making that big of a difference, at least for what they're saying they're doing it for. I do say it is hilarious, though, that literally on the front of it, that it was received, in the Senate of the United States, received March 11th, 2021. And it wasn't read, for the first time until May 24th, 2022, when all of this started happening. Like, you can't make it up, like it's right there printed on it. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, what, if you're watching on YouTube, there will be somewhere in one of those corners up there, the subscribe button will be there. I'm trying to not do this backwards. Like, it'll be either way, should be on the right side of your screen, and they'll recommend another episode of the show on the left side there. So that'll be a new thing. So you don't have an excuse, if you're watching it there, to not subscribe and help me out on Good Pods. I appreciate you. Now we're in top news altogether. Never mind indie this or top news. So keep that up, keep it going, keep sharing it out to everyone, no matter what you are. Follow the Facebook page. I share everything there, share all that out. Sharing it on there helps me out. Listen on Good Pods, all of that, wherever you're listening, you can still find the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, write a comment on that, and on Rumble. I'm on Jay Rucinski Show on Twitter to try to get more stuff out there. So please just follow along and share everything out. I'll be back on Monday with probably HR 8 to go over that, unless something crazy happens in between now and then. So enjoy your weekend. Be good to each other. Again, follow along and share. And I'll be back on Monday. So enjoy your weekend and peace.